Time we will call this meeting to order at our, still to some people, new time of 6:30. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Anson. Trustee Doro.
Here.
Trustee Myers.
Here.
Trustee Wallschlager.
Here.
Trustee Ludke. Trustee Connor.
Here.
President Vanderstill.
Here. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee Wallschlager, please.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, if anybody has any public comments for items that are not on the agenda, please come forward. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to have Chief Misko from the Police Department come forward and Captain Sue Jambritz from the Fire Department. I'd like to, Captain Jambritz has a check to present to Chief Misko. It's you know, face the camera a little bit. The Hartland Firefighters Association has donated $1,000 towards the expense of the armored vehicle.
Can't afford to
That
roll
will
it.
also help the fire department when we are in need and our citizens.
Awesome.
Great job.
One dollar.
And we have one check here for the village that includes monies that we have spent this year. It includes monies in 2019 that the Hartland Firefighters Association has spent on supplementing emergency equipment and apparatus for the fire department and the village of Hartland residents in the amount of $32,500. That money, on those three particular items that took up this amount of money, it was $22,500 for the ultra-high pressure pump system that went in a donated DPW truck that we've refurbished. We donated some hydrant bags that keep us very active at the hydrant. Everything is organized so we can attach our large diameter hose to the hydrants faster. And we also purchased a fan, a ventilation fan, battery operated for $3,200. Our association is there to assist the village and the village of residents. We're excited to do so. And thank you for all the village residents that come out and support our fundraisers. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And if I could quick, I'd just like to thank Chief Dean and the Hartland Firefighters Association. Like they showed you, they raised $1,000 and donated that towards our armored rescue vehicle. But in addition to that, they brought us in as part of their pancake breakfast event. They did a fundraiser there, a Fill the Boot fundraiser, and raised another $141 for that cause. So thank you to both the chief and the association for bringing us to be part of that, sharing that fundraising effort with the police department. They always have the best interest of the village to bring that equipment to the village of Hartland.
Awesome. Thanks. Happy to do it.
Congratulations on the amount raised. At this time, we have, or anybody else for public comments, I should say, for items that are not on the agenda? No takers tonight. Okay. First item on the agenda, we have a consideration of a motion to approve the village board minutes from the September 23rd, 2019 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is a consideration of a motion to approve the vouchers for payments in the amount of $1,581,563.88.
I'll move to approve the vouchers for the amount of $1,581,563.88.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the vouchers as stated. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
That motion is carried. The next items we have are related to licenses and permits. First, we have a consideration of application for bartender licenses with a term ending June 30th, 2020. That list is for Dawn Morris, Philip Griffith, and Jody Harvey.
I make a motion to approve the three operators license, bartending license.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve those licenses. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Those licenses are granted. That motion is carried. Next, we have a Class C wine license. The applicant is Jasmine's, I'm saying that right, Jamison's Flowers LLC. Location is 202 North Avenue, The agent is Dan Williamson.
The first up is a public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, is it just a public hearing?
It's a public
I'm sorry,
hearing. Public
I
hearing
missed that.
and
It is a
consideration.
public hearing. The public hearing is now open. The mic is there for any public that would like to speak regarding this license.
It just seems that it's just a part of the business, with the other art place, the Russian, they did it and we haven't had any problems, so I really don't see any problem with the flower garden.
This is more for like purchasing of flowers than like a bottle of wine or something.
No,
right?
this is so that they can serve wine at their property. They're going to be doing flower arranging,
Yep.
and they want to be able to offer wine to the
Like
people
a
who
little
come to the
learn,
classes.
Learning that?
Yep, learning
Yeah.
flower
Easier to
arrangements with
flowers
wine, like the brush, board and brush and wine.
Exactly, same type.
Sounds like a good idea.
Anybody else want to speak during the public hearing? At this time, we will close the public hearing. I'm sorry for jumping two steps ahead there, but we will close the public hearing, and we will move to our next item, which it would be a consideration of an action related to the issuance of a Class C wine license to Jameson's Flower LLC.
Also,
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. The next item on our agenda is discussion and consideration of a conceptual plan for expansion of St. Charles Church, 313 Circle Drive. Do we have representatives that are here to present? I will include that, obviously, there's a lot of processes, and anytime we have a conceptual plan, but the idea is to come to the village board and give a brief overview, and then if the village board is something that they'd entertain, it would be sent to our plan commission. So, gentlemen, you have the floor. If you could identify yourselves.
I'm Jason Albrecht with Zimmerman Architectural Studios.
And Brad Seibert with Harwood Engineering. So I'm the civil engineer, site development engineer on the project, and Jason is the architect on the project. I believe you have a copy of the conceptual plan. So we're happy to answer questions as far as site-related or architecture-related. The idea is basically there's that big, large parking lot right now on the north side of the current facility. New church addition would be put in that kind of almost center of that new parking lot or existing parking lot with new parking lot kind of rebuilt around it. We'd basically be at about the same number of spots, parking spots as they currently have now, so we're expanding slightly to the west with the parking, and then doing some improvements for basically ingress and egress out of the site. So Jason can speak to the building.
Yeah, the building's about 28,000 square foot footprint. It's connected to two existing entrances of the existing school, one to the east, one to the west. It has a bell tower that stretches to about 89 feet. The top of the cupola is roughly at 100 feet, and it's essentially just one story. 1,100 parishioners is planned for this facility. We're scheduling as a precast building. Some of the lower walls will be masonry and steel studs. There is a plan to commence construction around April 2020, and there will be a strategic plan in place to separate out student traffic and parishioner traffic and construction traffic as well.
I do have a quick question. Somewhere I saw 84 feet. Is it 84 or 89?
I believe it's 89 feet to the top of the actual,
Okay.
the tower itself, yes.
Okay.
and you said the parking can be the same?
Yeah, essentially the same, slightly more. Right now, there's about 316, and right now we have proposed about 323.
And you guys, I know we talked, you're proposing that, is that a one-way off of Nixon and Renson?
Yep. Right now, it's drawn as 24 feet wide, but it would really be exit only is the idea behind it. So-
Exit only?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody would come in off of Circle and Belshire and then go out off Renson, Nixon?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Really just gives one more kind of exit out of the site and just helps ease that traffic flow coming out of there.
So you'd have two exits?
Yeah, we're working through the, conceptually, it would be, the far east one would be entry and exit.
Okay.
The one we were just talking about would be exit only. The one in the center could be entrance only or could be two-way. They're still kind of trying to work out their traffic flow for school drop-offs and whatnot.
If anybody doesn't have any questions, obviously it'd be up to the board to send it to the plan commission, if they wanted it to work.
You need a motion?
It should be.
I'll make the motion that we send it on to the plan commission.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to send this overview plan to the plan commission to get into more details and things of that nature. One thing I will say is just so that everybody is aware, for members of the board, members of the public, obviously at the plan commission is where a lot of details are there, so everybody knows every third Monday of the month is the plan commission meeting, so if you want to go in and see the details and get into them, before it comes back to this village board level, please feel free. That's obviously is an open meeting for the public, just as this one is, but go there, 7 PM currently, every third.
6:30.
Has it been
I
changed?
thought they moved that. They did.
Okay, 6:30, I'm sorry. 6:30, in this room, plan commission meeting, every third Monday of the month, so if people want to come for more details, they can. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
been
say,
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried.
so
Thank you.
it'll just go for conceptual review of the plan
Correct.
commission and then start whatever process.
Correct. Next item on the agenda is discussion of the capital improvement plan.
Yeah, so the reason I brought this forward is just pretty much so that the village board, there's no motion, anything of that nature on here, but just, we need something that we need to take to Ellers for borrowing. Assuming everything would be fine tonight, we would bring the initial sale resolutions to the village board October 28th. Plan to do the sale November 25th with a closing December 12th, and that's if we do everything today. We have to have tax bills out by the third Monday, so it's obviously tight. We haven't changed anything other than what was changed in the previous meetings. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was fine with these numbers going forward. The general fund borrow, the general debt levy borrowing would be $3,068,000. The fire truck would be $700,000. The water utility $600,000. The sewer $940,000 for a total of $5.3 million. The water and sewer would be paid back by the rates for the water and sewer utility. The general levy and the fire truck would be paid for out of the debt levy that we do levy citizens. So, I don't know if everyone was, we talked about the roads. We've talked, do you have any comments on any of it? I know we talked a little bit about slurry mix, but I don't think we're doing any of that on this paving, right?
I have a question on, and I apologize, I wasn't here for the budget meeting.
Sure.
I had someone come up to me at one of the fundraisers a week ago about North Avenue and wondering why we weren't fixing that like yesterday. And I see that we have it set for 2021. And it does have a few issues with it. Why are we putting, they had asked me, why are we putting it off? And I did not have an answer for them, said I would ask.
Well, some of that has to do with, we're trying to keep a certain amount of money each year. We don't want to all of a sudden put $2 million in paving in 1 year, and so we try to balance that out.
Right.
And there's the beginning roads like Surrey, Chesson, and Cameron are horrendous in the
Okay.
winter. So we thought we'd move North Avenue down, and then we'll do North Avenue and East Cap together, so they'll be in the same vicinity.
And what together?
East Capitals there.
Okay, yep.
So that we're not tearing
makes
up downtown twice.
Okay.
And Ryan, to your point, we are
Harvest the
slurrying,
market, yep, I see it.
we're slurrying grain, the Mill Place area,
Yep.
granary harvest and market.
Did you have any other questions? I did want to make one thing clear, and I know we had spoke a little bit, and I know some questions came up on the board. Are we doing the tennis court? I know that you left, if it is, it had been talked about and whether to push it off or whether to not. The people that are seeing it every day, and if our experts in the Department of Public Works feel that it should be done, after seeing some pictures that were sent to me, there is large gaps in there. I just want to say that after seeing it, it appears that it probably shouldn't be put off. I want to save money just as much as anybody else, but it did appear after looking, I mean, there is a huge just gap in it. But that's up to the board for us to decide, because I
I
believe
did
it was
not put
left
it in.
out.
Well, here's the thing, that was gonna be paid for out of cash reserves anyway, from interest that we get on that fund.
Okay,
So what I would do is maybe hold off and have him, when the snow is gone, we could always look at it, and if it's bad, we could call contractors and get quotes in the spring and bring it to you just for approval, you know? It's just a matter of, they don't wanna put in all the work if it's not something that the board wants, but, I mean, the pictures, people who are playing tennis on those courts probably are gonna have a difficult time.
Right. the ball.
or anything. Our rec department used those for pickleball, and I was some of it being pushed off because I thought, why do we really need to redo these tennis courts? But after seeing it, it definitely is. I also didn't realize that it had actually been, it appears that one has been kicked down the road quite a bit, so we've saved the money from not doing it over the last 5 years. I was the culprit in trying to push that off, but it seems that one is at the end of its life of being able to be pushed off. So for that, I do apologize. I do like that we look into things, but, you know,
At this point,
That
we'd
was-
have to go get new proposals in the spring, like
Okay.
as Ryan stated.
okay.
And if you look at, not that there's a magical number, and obviously the yellow and blue years will change, but the borrowings are, I think we took this year's borrowing from about 3.8 million to a little over 3 million. The yellow I know has come down to 2.8 and the blue 2.5, so they are working to get it to a reasonable level, and also maintain the quality of the roads. So this year will really be a true test on, next year we'll be on seeing if the slurry works and what kind of response we get from citizens, because the roads after that, you're talking Mary Hill subdivision, so I don't know if that would be a slurryable subdivision, so we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
All right.
Are we, there's no motion to be made, I just want to make sure, I mean, if,
Can you just, since we're at the public, I know you and I have talked about it, but can you kind of give an indication? I know it's a range, you don't know exactly what Ellers are saying, you don't know exactly what the, where things are gonna end up now. Do we have if we were to pass this, do we have a better guideline of where, a range of where we think, things will come in? It sounds like taxes will stay about this.
yeah, I mean, see that, I hate putting something on it, because
Okay.
whenever you send a bond issue out, people might say, you know what, we want a payment of 350,000 in the first year and then 100,000. A lot of times they'll kind of negotiate that, so
Sure.
Ellers will try and smooth it out, but let's, at the next meeting, Ellers can talk more about that when they come here to approve the resolutions. They can give you an idea with actual rates, and then I can work with them over the next 2 weeks to show you what that might be.
Okay,
I don't think that should affect if you want to do these things or not. I mean, a $3 million borrowing is about where we've been. The fire truck we're getting is at November 18th. So we're actually going to buy the fire truck with cash on hands and reimburse ourselves with the debt that we get. We were looking at some local banks, but I think it just makes sense to roll this into that debt issue, because the interest costs, what they'll do is they'll pay that truck off over 10 years like we were going to with a bank. The first 10 years of interest will actually be a little bit cheaper than getting a local note. So we're going to go that route.
all right. Lastly, I guess I do want to add for the board, some of these words you hear like slurry or other things, we did work. It doesn't mean we're necessarily all in agreement, but we talked about a lot of different things that can keep costs down. There's other avenues we can take in trying to prolong how long our roads last, but keeping the quality of the roads. There are avenues we can take that cost 1/10 of what it costs for, scraping the road down and repaving it. We're going to try some new things. Obviously, I think that you can see it's not just in Hartland, but it's everywhere, that we try to take steps to manage the costs the best we can and provide the highest quality. If we were to go on the track that we're going on, and that it has been done in the last 10 years, it was without question, taxes will continue to rise every single year. And that's not guaranteed if there's a huge drop in oil, but truly they would. So that's the things that we have to weigh. We're still going to try to provide the best quality we can. It's not like everything's going down. It's just we're changing a little bit from how we've done it over the last 10 or 20 years. We're trying to save the village money. We're trying to save the taxpayers' money. So we'll see how it all goes. I just want everybody to, and any questions on that, they can call into the village on and ask.
So I'll go forward with the CIP plan with the numbers that we have. Ellers will get me the figures on that, and we'll go forward October 28th. We'll discuss this more.
All right.
Sounds good.
The next item on the agenda is discussion and consideration of a request from the Business Improvement District related to the downtown street pole banners. I believe we have representatives here to speak more on this.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jim Minzenberger. I'm with the Business Improvement District on the Design Committee.
Tom Brass, President of the Business Improvement District.
What we're coming before the board for is we would like to continue the banner system that is prominent on Capitol Drive that are attached to the more concrete light poles and extend that feel down Cottonwood and North Avenue. To do that, it would take attaching to 20 utility poles. In the past, the village has had banners on these poles. With the previous DPW director, we had some issues with seeing if we could still utilize Wisconsin Electric poles for that, and now that has been determined that we can. And so we would like to, further define the business district with this banner system. I think everybody feels that the current system is attractive, and we want to, build on that. What we're looking for is to increase or to place hardware on these poles. We can use some of the old hardware that was on 10 poles in the past. Actually, DPW has dismantled those and got them in working order, I heard today. And so those would be up and running. We would have to buy some additional brackets, and then we would have to buy new poles or rods for the banner system for all of the brackets that would be involved. And that would come to a total of $1,600. Then there would be an addition of 20 banners that would need to be purchased. I think in your packet you had gotten some of the visuals on that. We're looking to install 20 all-season banners, and then we would intermix that with the current seasonal banners that would be taken up and down, a few times a year. What the bid is looking for is for the village to, also consider that for the $1,445 for a total of $3,045. From there on, then the bid would be responsible for upkeep and replacing of the banners. The seasonal banners are quite old, and I think on a yearly basis then we'll get into a rotation of upgrading the existing banners, that are in use right now. Any questions that anybody has?
So we do have approval to put those up from the We Energy?
Correct. We've had the people out and we have been cleared to do that.
Now that the money that's coming out we would just come out of the village rather than out of your budget?
Correct. That's what we're asking for here, just to get this system up and running. And then, like I said, from there on, we would, go forward with maintaining or purchasing any new banners that would go forward from here.
I like the idea that we're finally telling people that, hey, there's more than just one little street that
Right.
businesses.
And this would,
It's nice to
so this
see.
would be going on Cottonwood all the way out to Cardinal, and then North Avenue to about the Flower Garden vicinity.
I think it's a great idea.
To go off of your point, I think that's one of the things that I liked about it is that there is more.
Right.
There's other businesses that are paying, they pay an extra tax for it going into the bid. I do like that the bid is willing to say, hey, we'll replace the banners.
Right.
Going forward, They get the initial shot in the arm, so to speak. But I think it's important for those businesses like we just had earlier, the license for the flower gardens. From what I've heard, that business is doing outstanding. People are liking it. They originally came in, so now they can sell wine in the baskets. You get your flower and stuff or your flowers, and there's a bottle of wine in the basket. And now they're actually going to be having tastings there. But for the businesses down the road, whether you have Enters or whether you have the various businesses that have been down there, and that might be more intriguing for
They're not
businesses.
stepchildren anymore,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like just if you're on Capitol, you get everything. But I do think it's a good idea, and I think it's part of where Hartland appears that we want to go with that. That is becoming more and more of our,
If we
our
do the initial-
downtown.
The initial setup.
Right.
Set the hardware, and they'll take care of the banners from that point on.
Yep.
That, I have no problem with that.
Right. Can you explain, guys, on the banners also and what you did? Because you did put in and I'm saying this because as the member from the board on the bid board, you did do something to save the village some money initially with the banners by having the 4-season banners that we had. Do you want to explain? Because it could have been 4 different sets of
Yes.
banners, but you did some,
Yeah,
made
what
some
we were
steps.
trying to do is these banners, the 4-season banners, should be reusable, all year long. It does have the little leaf and snowflake and such on there that kind of signifies that. And then we can still use the fall banners or the winter banners or whatever that we still currently have in stock. Previously, the banners on the electric poles were of a different size. Here, we're going to make everything consistent so that they can just be alternated and mixed in with each other as we go along. We also have I think there's 6 Ice Age Trail banners that signify that we're an Ice Age Trail community, and those also can be sprinkled in the mix to kind of keep people aware that, that we're proud of that designation as well.
Good idea. Do we need a motion?
Yeah, we would.
I'll make a
'cause the
motion
village
that
would be
we
paying for
support
that.
the event by the hardware cost for 30, what was it, 30?
What was the number?
$3,045.
Yeah, $3,045.
$2,045.
3,000. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of the poles and the banners for the bid in the amount of $3,045. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you, guys.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
The next item we have on the agenda is a discussion and consideration of a motion to approve ordering 8 Badger books. These are electronic poll books and related supplies from PDS and Works Computing in the amount of $15,378 from the 2020 budget.
The reason we're bringing it to you, everybody saw this during our budget presentation. You guys were all on board, but in order to get this price and this discount, we have to order it by now. We won't get it until 2020, but obviously if.
Right, cost
you know,
rise.
Yep. We just didn't want to get to the budget and you guys say, you know what, let's not do that. And she ordered it. So this is kind of your pre-approval of them.
Darlene sold me on that after saving
Yeah.
the time, and it's just.
No, it's a great
I think
idea.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve
I'll
the.
Ordering the 8.
Second. Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordering the 8 Badger books and related supplies in the amount of $15,378 in the 2020 budget. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. I also agree, that's a good idea. Really, it sounds to be top. The next item on the agenda is discussion and consideration of a motion to approve change order number 1 to the contract with Payne and Dolan for the 2019 paving and utilities program with a reduction of $908.59 for a revised contract amount of $1,168,315.89. Do we want, yeah, please.
Well, the engineer says that it's okay, and that we pay the guy a lot of money to make those decisions for us.
I agree.
So I don't see how we can do anything but accept them.
This is number 8, this, right? This number 8 is the
Yeah.
change order.
Yeah.
This is a reduction.
Yep.
This is a reduction of $908.59. It is for twofold. It is for us doing restoration on a fire hydrant on Hartwood that the contractor never did. So we charge them our labor our benefits, our truck, and the sod we used. So we charged them all that for that. And then it is also, when they put the detour sign up for Cottonwood Avenue, they put it up a day too early and they weren't even in town. So it was on a weekend, so our Rupert Melke, the inspector, was driving through town, so he took them down, and we also charged them for that as well. So that's what the paid change.
I really gotta commend you guys, Dave, and you yourself, you know, especially in catching these things. There's times, even 2 years ago, and I know sitting on this board where sometimes things just weren't, not saying it was your fault, there's things that just weren't up on it, but you guys have really been up on these kind of things, and to not just give it away and be like, oh, okay, you didn't do it, we'll just let it fly through and we'll fix it anyways. There's been times in the past, I know things like that have happened, so I'm just, even though it's only $9 or $8 of a large contract, I really do. I commend you, and I think the entire board does, for how much you're staying on top of these things and really paying attention and holding someone's feet to the fire when, hey, you made a contract, you didn't do it, we did it, we're gonna charge you for everything, not just,
Correct.
you know, a couple bucks. But I commend you for that, and the whole DPW.
Well,
all
thank
of
you.
guys. And I think the board does the same, not just myself.
I think you should charge them more. Time and a half or double time. It was a weekend, you know?
So that just needs a motion.
Yep, we would need a motion for that, yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve the revised contract in the amount of $1,168,315.89.
I'll second it. You want to put, to make sure that it's a reduction stated in the
Yep,
motion?
it's been moved and seconded that it's a reduction with the total amount listed that makes it the reduction
Yep.
of $1,168,315.89 for a total contract amount, which is because of the $908.59 reduction. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Faulkner. Next item we have is discussion and consideration of a motion to approve the contractor's application for payment number 1 for the Crystal Drive lift station modifications in the amount of $148,100.
As you can see, there's a picture attached. They set the building, the electric is run to it. They're waiting for the gas to be run to it. We Energies is a couple weeks out because they're backlogged. And we are having startup of this new unit on the 24th. So this is a partial payment request. As Mike stated, the engineers were fine with what was done, work so far. So we're looking for releasing a payment of $148,100.
And can you just explain a little more, just for anybody watching and also for the board?
Okay.
Obviously, we approved an amount originally. With this only being payment number 1, can you just kind of briefly just say how that all works?
So this is for the Crystal Lift Station. We're upgrading the controls. We're putting a building in with a backup standby generator, and we rebuilt the pumps for this lift station. The reason why we budgeted this was we had control fail in that panel, and we literally went out there and there was sewer almost to the top of the road, and we had to go door to door and make sure they didn't have sewer in their basements. So we figured it was time to upgrade the panel, and then we put a standby generator there immediately.
And it does look very nice.
Yes.
It does.
That
It matches every home.
Actually, the neighbor whose yard it was in, he thought it was going to be gaudy. He was impressed, he said.
Yeah, it does look really nice.
Yes.
It matches the homes
retaining wall,
and
right.
what that HOA wants out of a building, so. Thanks. That we would need a motion on as well. If someone wanted to make it.
I'll make the motion to approve the first payment, release of the first payment for the Crystal Drive lift station in the amount of $148,100.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve that first payment for the Crystal Drive lift station in the amount of $148,100. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a next item being a discussion and consideration of a motion to approve a letter of credit reduction for the Glen and Overlook Trails development. Ryan, do you want to give some background on
Yeah,
that?
this is just your standard request as developers get through so much of the project. They ask for the letter of credit to be reduced, obviously, so that they're not paying any interest, anything associated with that. Ryan Antman from Rupert and Milky did go out there and very late last week approved the amount. They had a lot of work to do to get him satisfied as far as the stormwater and stabilization of the property. But they have come very far and things are moving along to the point where he's comfortable releasing that letter, that portion of the line of credit. They'll still have 1.4 million of the line of credit should anything happen. But again, this is just standard operating procedure with any development we have. As they do work, we release a certain letter of credit amount.
So as you've described to me before, just so I have it right,
Yep.
there's a certain amount that's given, and that goes in as a line of credit, and it's up to the board
Yep.
to release that out.
We
because
say
don't
everything
give
is-
everything at one
Correct.
time. We have to make sure everything's okay before we'll release
Correct.
that money.
Because all of their New Berlin grading, DF Tomasini, we haven't gotten to Payne and Dolan yet, but everybody has so much of a contract, they give lien waivers saying, yes, we release you of this liability to the developer, and our engineers go look at it and make sure everything's okay, and then we say fine, and they get something, we sign something, they'll give it to the bank, and it releases part of their letter of credit.
I'm sorry, you said they do feel comfortable with it, because you said there's a lot that still needs to be done?
Yeah, there's a lot that still needs to be done as far as to get the roads and everything, but yeah, all of the work that they've completed to date is part of that 1.8.
Okay.
So hopefully we don't get snow so they can
Continue, right?
go.
Everybody good? All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the line, or letter of credit reduction for Glen at Overlook Trails Development.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the letter of credit reduction for Glen and Overlook Trails. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. We now have announcements.
I got a question for Dave. The water meters.
Which Dave?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, okay.
How are we doing with that? We're getting the lead out of those and rebuilding those? How many more years is that gonna go
We
before?
have 3 years, and then all of our meters will be changed
3
out.
more years?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping that I might be cutting down a little bit, but.
We chose a 10-year path. There's some, where I live, they chose 20.
Yeah, a lot of municipalities chose a 20-year path. We decided to speed it up a little bit.
Not angry about that.
Okay, and
Oh, go ahead.
the second
No, no.
question I have, the comment was made that, at one of our meetings last month, that, about the sidewalk repair that we're doing all the time, and we're repairing sidewalk. And has there ever been a consideration that we go 50-50 with the landowner on the sidewalk repair? If there's sidewalks there, that the village pays half of it and they pay half of it? I mean, I've known other communities where it's been all the landowner, but, you know, as we get back in our budgets and looking at this, the sidewalk is part of the property, and I would like to maybe consider, let's split that, let's go 50-50 on the sidewalk replacement, come up with a set number of that, and, yeah, I'd just like to consider, is that something feasible? I mean, do you think?
There are municipalities that do that. I have a property in a different community, and I do get assessed for that.
I think it'd be a good item to put on the agenda. I myself can say what they call those are, it's typically like an impact or special assessment fee. It's something they've never done in Hartland.
Right.
Or at least when some of us have talked about it, it was never done before. But I think it absolutely, to keep taxes low, we can keep doing what we've always done, but then taxes will go up. And Mike, I do concur with that, but since it's not on the agenda, I think it'd be a great item to have on the agenda and start talking about, because there's some of us that have talked about that.
I could look into different communities that I'll do that and see how they go about it.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Any other announcements?
I just wanted to make one thing about the Glen. Highway K, the traffic going eastbound is going to be slowed up. They're going to make the turn lane for the Glen. That should be starting tomorrow morning. The barricades went out today.
So will it be closed, or it'll be
It'll
slowed up
be
and they'll
open,
have
but
those flags there?
Yep,
Flaggers?
correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I just want to give everybody a heads up on the traffic going eastbound.
Okay.
Thank you. Got a couple of things here from the fire department, little update on the pancake breakfast. Thank you for everyone that attended and the community that attended. We fed 432 people. Up from last year was 410. Raffle baskets did great. Thank you to all the people that contributed there. We'll have final donation figures later this week. Many children visited the station, visited the Survive Alive house, saw the helicopter land, sprayed water, went through the fire trucks. It was great to have all the kids there. And on top of that, the blood drive that was going on at the same time was unbelievable. Our donation goal was 24 units. We went out and pushed as much as we could, and we ended up with a total of 31 units. And these 31 units will go to help 63 patients in the Hartland Lake Country area. So very happy about that. Speaking of fundraisers, we have another fundraiser coming up Wednesday and Thursday, our annual pizza delivery from Enters. You can order a pizza from Enters Sports Grill and have it delivered by the Hartland firefighters in a fire truck. And we will check your smoke detectors, give you new batteries for your smoke detector if you need them, run through a quick safety plan if you'd like, and we'd also set an appointment to come back at a later date if you have more things or more questions that you would have, then we could go more in depth. But pre-ordering starts October 15th at 4 o'clock, and we'll deliver from 4 to 7:30. And while we're on the fundraising note, the earlier amounts that were dispersed is money that wasn't just raised in the last several years. It is money that has been raised over decades of years from the Hartland Fire Department. Years ago, we used to have, during the hometown celebration, we had games and things down at the village at Nixon Park. We had beer tent, food tents, those kind of things, and a lot of the money is left over from that we're getting around to allocating to different things. Earlier, before the meeting, I handed out, each of you had a copy. Every year, the fire department, on behalf of myself, sends out a letter, and also on behalf of the National Fire Safety Council, they send out a letter on behalf of the fire department to all our local businesses. And those businesses are asked to contribute money to provide pamphlets like this, official fire safety manuals for all age groups, and all kinds of fire safety devices, information packets, all kinds of great things that we are able to hand out to over the 1,000 kids that we have at the fire station. So I just wanted to shout out, these names will all be on the broadcast, as our wonderful TV channel has taken some shots of them, and they'll be up on our screen with this broadcast tonight. But I want to thank all the businesses. They contribute anywhere between $6,000 and $12,000 a year so that we can provide these pamphlets to our students and children that come through the fire station and fire prevention and fire safety. So that's all I have. We'll see you Wednesday and Thursday night for pizza. And you can order this year pre-baked or take and bake. So they're just made up. You can put them in the freezer and enjoy them at another time. So,
Can people go in there?
Yes,
And they can go in and say they're taking take and bake and they want that for the...
They can do
For the
that, and
fundraiser?
any one that wants to dine in that evening, off the regular menu, Pat Enter donates 20% of all of those proceeds to the fire department.
Fantastic,
So thank
okay.
you to Enters and Pat.
All right.
Nice job on
Wonderful.
Sunday, Chief.
Thank you, it was
Lots
lots
of
of fun.
happy kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was fun, lots of fun. Thank you all.
Thanks, Chief. Anybody on the board have announcements? They already covered the pancake breakfast. I guess I just want to, I think all the board, we wish Jeff Hansen a speedy recovery on, he got that surgery for a brand new knee. I've heard it's a painful procedure and that he's in some pain, but he's going through PT and hopefully he'll have a speedy recovery. So we send all our thoughts and prayers to him. This past weekend, there was just a memorial service at the Legion for Rick Stevens, who used to serve on the board down on that end. It was very nice, so please keep his wife and the rest of his extended family in your thoughts and prayers. Other than that, I guess as an announcement, I will say to the board, I think at some time having that speaker that came, I don't remember if it was our last meeting or our second to last meeting, but someone came and was worried about how cars are going through the crosswalks. I know I've heard some other people mention on that, so we'll have to think about whether we do want to throw an agenda item on there to talk about it more, or what we want to do just to try to, I think that the signs that we have that say caution, that stand in the middle, I don't know how much more blatant it can get, but, you know, that way we can talk about it as a board, if
I
there's
do
more
see
we
people slowing
want.
down a bit more with those.
Yeah.
I know they're not the answer. I also see them under semis at times, but you know, whatever.
So, yeah. Anybody else got any?
I was just gonna address that crosswalk complaint. We have done extra patrols over the last couple weeks.
Okay.
And again, we sit there for 20, 30 minutes. We get pulled away for calls, but we had almost next to no use while we were out there. And we were trying to pick times for when school would be starting, rush hour type times when pedestrian traffic, but we had almost no use at all, and obviously then no violations. So
Yeah.
we do try to monitor the crosswalks. We know that happens where cars are coming through, because some communities, there's an expectation people stop. Some communities, there's not.
Yep.
And I think there's people that aren't sure what to do or not do in some certain cases.
Yeah, I think each of us have had that. I've had it, for me, I will admit, honestly, it's probably 50-50. You know, if I go, once I'm standing out in the road, I know, maybe for me it's a little more step on the gas than others, but, no, but I've stood out there before where, you know, 50% of them they'll even stop and you'll even be waving them, they'll be like, no, you go. And then there's some where it's just like, they look at you like, why are you creeping into the road, you know? But at least, I mean, so some people really pay attention to it, but it isn't something that's seen all the time, so I'm glad to know that you guys are at least looking at it, so. All right, anything else? Do you want to make mention this weekend? No?
No.
Okay. All right, well, with that, I would entertain a
I'll make
motion.
the motion that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting's adjourned.